Hello everyone, and welcome back to Minecraft, Vanilla Minecraft. We are back in the water temple as we were before. And now is the time to try and, let's see here. What's this room like? Oh, this room I might be able to just clear. Oh, fudge. Okay, so this room drops. Good to know. Very good to know. And we are now done with this. Since that is just a dead drop, I don't know that I want to continue on through here just yet. Gather this cobblestone back up. So far so good though. This room is like really nice. It'll be so cool to have like an underwater base. It'll be like Raptor in BioShock. Less glass though, apparently. I could rip out some walls and put in glass. That's very true. I don't know. Regardless, actually, we need those sponges. Sponges. Okay, doing well. Didn't I figure out that I could use a stick for the second half? I think I did. Whoops. Alright, let's keep going here. Probably want to go right like so. And actually, a good idea might be to put on a water breathing potion. So last time we talked about some random stuff here and there. This time, I feel like I should probably consider a more coherent topic. So I was thinking about the portrayal of time in TV shows. So, I'm not gonna lie, I like a lot of TV shows that deal with time travel, or just time in general. A lot of series that I think have done this well, or cleverly. I like Doctor Who. I wouldn't say that it's, by today's standard, it's very groundbreaking, but you got to remember that it was the, sort of the starting of that. A serialized time travel series. So, and it's just been sticking to that route ever since. So I definitely appreciate it for how it is, and it is technically groundbreaking, even though it was not the first, or even though the current series as it exists today seems cliched. It's because all the cliches came from the series that came before it. So yeah, yeah. Okay, sticks way better. Okay. Good to know. Another series that I think handles time travel really interestingly was the Steingate's series. Steins Gate was a fantastic anime with a very interesting view of time travel that used an actual real world, like almost a meme, or a kind of like an old internet urban legend. That were used, for anybody who's not familiar with the story, back in 2003, was it? I can't remember the exact date. But somebody showed up on an internet forum claiming to be a time traveler. Sorry. He came back with information that, you know, he was looking for a specific brand of old computer that had proprietary software installed on it that would help could help decrypt certain computer algorithms and programming. which turns out that computer did actually have those capabilities, and it wasn't a publicly known thing, which was interesting. Though it wasn't publicly known, it was known by, you know, a fair amount of people who worked on it, and anybody who is, you know, super good with computers could probably have figured that part out. And I think we just cleared this floor. Well, no, we haven't. We still have the other side to do. That's right. So, the time traveler was John Titor. And to this day, nobody has actually found out for certain who the person claiming to have been that guy was. They did find some people who were believed to be involved with it, but no guarantees. Anyways, Steingates builds on that as its premise and involves the multiple worlds theory, where every time you make a decision, it creates an alternate reality, and any time you alter a decision, it creates yet another reality. And each of these realities is known as a world line. They're not the way they portray it is that it's not necessarily a parallel universe. It's the same universe. It's just on a separate plane of time. Like, you know how space is length, width, depth? It's got 3 dimensions to it. Time in that is also portrayed as multidimensional. So you can have multiple timelines. They're all the same universe, but they're all linear. Despite the fact that it's multidimensional, it's still linear. Each timeline is still a timeline. So I thought that was a really interesting portrayal of time. Or at least that's how I understood it in that series. Maybe they were just going for parallel universes, but it seemed like it was multi-dimensional, because somehow some information was shared between both states from the previous world line and the existing world line, or the newly established world line. Elements would be shared. Which I think could only be possible if it were a multi-dimensional or singular universe. Again, all this is like stupid theoretical stuff, but still. Okay, that should be enough to clear out some of the water from here. Some of the water, not all of the water. If I put a torch over here, it could help the visibility. So I think I'm going to go straight across here. And then... Is something attacking me? No. Okay. Oh, hello. Yeah, when they swim, they don't seem to have the thorns on them. When they retract their things. Okay, buddy. You wanna play rough? I can play rough. Didn't I have a better bow at one point? I'm pretty sure I did. Why did that not work that time? Did I not end up putting the stick in afterwards? Maybe I didn't. I guess I didn't. Oh, that's not what I wanted to do. Hello, come back, please. Thank you. How am I doing on arrows? I should be still fine. I had 2 stacks on me. I'll check as soon as I'm over here. Oh yeah, I still have a stack and 4. I've almost gone through the first, though, so that's something to keep in mind. What are my odds of being able to clear this out? Probably non-existent. if I pulled this out... Yeah, no, that's gonna pour through. Yeah, see, I think I need to go across like this. And then... Yeah, I'm gonna need way more cobblestone. Alright, another series that I think did time travel well was Heroes. I liked season 1 of Heroes when they did Hiro Nakamura's Adventures Through Time, basically. I liked how, despite being from the future and knowing how things were, or knowing how events transpired, he still only had his point of view to go on, and ultimately, he was wrong. The entire time, he's trying to stop Sylar from going nuclear, but in reality, it's Peter that goes nuclear. And I thought that was a fantastically done thing. It's like, just because you travel through time doesn't mean you have all the details. Oh, I guess I already had a torch relatively close there. Another thing that addressed time travel interestingly to me was actually, this one was more space. Ben 10 did an interesting job. There was one episode in the sequel series. I can't remember what it's called. Ultimate Alien? No. It was before that one. Omniverse? I don't remember. Which, by the way, Ben 10 was a really good sci-fi show for anybody who thinks that it was like your kid's superhero of the week or monster of the week superhero show. It did do a lot of science fiction elements really well, especially in later episodes, or in later series. For example, there was the one time where they had to leave the universe, the current universe, the one that we exist in right now. They had to exit outside of it into basically an area where the concept of space and time are questionable. As far as you could tell, the only space that existed was the space inside of the ship, and the only time. So it's like they took a sliver of the universe with them outside. Now, obviously, conceptually, that probably does not work very well, because without space, like, where does the border of space begin? Is it on the very outside? Is it from the very outermost electron of the very outermost atom of the material that comprises the ship's hull? Or is it projected further beyond that, right? Like, if space doesn't exist out there, then yeah, it was a real head scratcher thing. And then they go on to the point where they eventually get stopped by something. So they didn't even know they were moving to begin with. So at some point they hit something, and then one of the characters says, "It appears we've stopped." And then another one chimes in and says, "Relative to what?" Which is a very valid point. If you are outside of the universe, the only things you have to compare yourselves to are everything else, everything you're attached to, right? The entire ship. So if the ship, and everything in the ship are all moving at the exact same speed with no other reference point, then you are essentially stopped. For all intents and purposes, regardless of what is going on, you are stopped. Now, of course, if the ship runs itself off of some kind of exhaust byproduct that you are essentially blowing away from yourself, then you are moving at double the speed of the energy you've produced relative to the matter that you are expelling at the back, because you are expelling it at the same speed you are going. Therefore, relative to it, you are going at twice the speed that you are going relative to whatever you were stationary on, whether it's a point in space or another object. So you can also move relative to a point in space. It doesn't actually have to be physical matter or energy. You can just move relative to a point in space. And that is fine. And that still works. The math still works. Boom, boom. 2 stacks should be more than enough, I think. Can I ride a horse yet? We've had a few updates. Let's see if I can't ride a horse. I can ride a horse. Awesome. We are taking a horse back. We are taking a horse back on horseback. Let's put some stuff away while I'm here, actually. Let's see, what else do I have I can put away? Where did I put all my prismarine? There it is. Cool. So yeah, that was an interesting thing, is that motion doesn't exist with something to compare it to, without something to compare it to. Even if you're moving in an empty vacuum of space with in complete perfect darkness, with nothing to visibly that you can perceive as something you are moving against. You are moving relative to a point in space. Because space is still something. Space is not nothing. Space is something. The concept of nothing doesn't exist. Oh. I seem to have loading trouble here. Uh-oh. Okay, I'm gonna try to reload here. And yeah, so I thought that was really a really good way of portraying space in a bit of a simpler argument. Is that now, bear in mind, they did not address the whole where does space for the isolated segment of their ship, where does space exist, and how does the ship move through nothing, basically. That was all stuff that I extrapolated from the show. So they don't address everything precisely. Oh, weird. It seems chunks don't load while you're on a horse. Okay, so bugs still exist. I am running snapshot versions, by the way. I'm running the most recent snapshot version as of 2 p.m. on Sunday, the day this is coming out. Or no, wait, today is Friday. Whoops. As of 2 p.m. on Friday, the day before this episode comes out. Yeah, that seems to be the case. Chunks don't load while you're on a horse. But the part they did address was when they said, it appears we've stopped moving. Relative to what? So it's got really good sci-fi elements to it, despite the fact that it's... I wouldn't say despite the fact that it's, like, kid-style show. Like, a lot of shows nowadays, even if they're general audience rated, does not mean that they're kids shows. Granted, stuff like that still exists. Stuff like that's always going to exist. People who think that they can put down mindless entertainment just because they think that the people watching it don't need to be challenged. That's a thing that's going to exist. I guess I didn't need that. I forgot I had the horse hole. But a lot of shows nowadays question a whole lot of stuff. You take Avatar: The Last Airbender, did a very good job of having its villain, like having moral gray areas, or not moral gray areas, but knowing that a villain isn't just a villain. A villain is a person who has different ideals than you and is going about it in a way that puts other people in harm's way. And their idealism isn't necessarily like a bad thing. It's just the way that they go about it that's the problem. And then, what else? You take Legend of Korra, which was the follow-up, and it deals with a whole lot of different political point of views. You have equalism, you have anarchy, you have, what was the last one? The last one was... What was the last one? What's her name? Kavera. What was Kavera supposed to be? Fascism? Communism? I can't remember. She was basically what was it? Basically Germany, right? In World War II? Except for the, except for the perfect human being thing where they kill everybody who they thought was not. Except for that, it was the similar thing, right? Like, yeah, I can't remember exactly what it was. I think it was supposed to be fascism. No, not fascism. What's the... Fascism is not what I think it is. What I'm thinking is... The thing I'm trying to think of that I can't think of the word for. Maybe it is communism. I just remember hearing a review of it, and they compared it to one of the scenes in the show to a scene to a bunch of photos from World War II, where Germany rolled in to places bringing in food and supplies, and you see all the kids and younger people are ecstatic, but all the adults are disappointed and distraught, and because they understand what's going on, but the kids, all they know is that they've been hungry for a long time. The war has has put a lot of strain on the city that they're in and has made it almost third world-ish in the way that they had access to stuff. Sickness was coming, they couldn't get medications in, they couldn't get food in. So for everybody, for a lot of people, there was that almost hero quality to those soldiers coming in. But to anybody who knew what was actually going on, it was like they had just lost. The losing side, the losing side was the side that they were hoping for. And yeah. So you have stuff like that addressed in a show that is rated for, you know, its general audience. The kids don't see that kind of thing. They still portray Kuvera enough to be, okay, well, she's the bad guy. But at the same time, they don't portray her as just being evil for evil's sake. She has intentions that are good for the people she's trying to help. It's just the way she's going about it that is extremely detrimental to a lot of people. It's a real shame that Nickelodeon treated The Legend of Korra the way it did. That series could have been fantastic if it hadn't been held back, if it hadn't been treated so poorly. It was a fantastic series. I understand it had its faults, and I understand why those faults were, and I know that it was not in the hands of the creators of the series. Really, the only terrible parts of The Legend of Korra were when the first half of the series suddenly had to get rushed. It got cut down to half of its runtime, or half of what they were told they were going to get. The second half, where they didn't know how long of a season they were going to have. And after that, it was all fantastic. I forgot about second season. Second season, what was that? That was like the political movement in the second season was... What was it? It was... sort of like, it was spiritualism, right? Like, it was extreme environmentalism, basically. Putting the needs of nature and spirits before humans to the point where, you know, humans are expendable. Which, you know, is something that actually exists in our world today. Or extremists who believe that, you know, humans in their treatment of animals have forfeited their rights. And therefore should face punishment. It's very much a thing that exists. And these groups tend to try to piggyback off of the more peaceful lines, saying that they represent the same things. It's just they're more willing to take action. Man, I talked about a whole lot of stuff that I did not think I would end up talking about today, and I just looked at the timer, and we are well over time, and as much as I've enjoyed talking about this subject, I feel like I went off on such a tangent, and I feel so bad because I said, okay, here's what I'm going to talk about today, and then I just completely diverged. And talked about how, basically, kids' shows aren't just kids' shows anymore. They're back to how they used to be, back in the times of like Pinky and the Brain and Animaniacs, where it was adult humor mixed in. But now, instead of adult humor, it's adult subject matter mixed in to a point where it's not inherently apparent to anybody who doesn't understand it, and it's It's not something that's harmful. It's something that you can go back and watch later on in your life and catch as something that's really important to address. But anyway, I'm gonna stop before I go out on another ramble. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you've enjoyed, as always, all that fun stuff and more. And yeah, I will see you guys in the next one. Bye for now.